If you're watching this, chances are you're either battling a relapse or struggling with intense urges. You feel stuck, frustrated, and desperate for a way out. You've tried everything: willpower, tips, advice from others, but nothing has worked. You're still caught in this cycle, and deep down, you hate yourself for it. Here's the truth: most of the advice you've been given is wrong. People tell you to fight harder, resist more, use willpower, and just stop. But that's exactly why you keep failing. What I'm about to share will transform how you see this addiction. But first, you need to understand why you've been stuck for so long. The real issue isn't your lack of effort. It's how your brain is working against you. Every time you give in, you're not just making a bad choice, you're rewiring your brain. This addiction has hijacked your brain's reward system. Your brain was designed by Allah to reward you with dopamine, a feel-good chemical, when you achieve something meaningful. But when you watch those videos, your brain gets overwhelmed with an unnatural flood of dopamine. Over time, normal activities, prayer, exercise, even simple joys, stop feeling satisfying. Your brain becomes numb to everything except that artificial high. And here's the worst part: every time you try to quit using willpower alone, you're actually making the addiction stronger. Sure, you might resist for a day or two, but eventually the urges overpower you. This is why quick fixes like cold showers or blocking websites don't work. They treat the symptoms, not the root cause. This addiction creates something scientists call a super stimulus. It's like turning normal food into pure sugar. Your brain wasn't designed to handle it. That's why the urges feel overwhelming. Your brain believes it's fighting for survival, making the temptation feel impossible to resist. But here's the good news: the same science that explains why you're stuck also reveals a way out. A method so simple, yet so overlooked, it can help you break free. The key isn't to fight harder, it's to understand what's happening and respond differently. When you fight urges head-on, you're actually feeding the cycle. You feel like a failure when you relapse, believing you're weak or your faith is too fragile. This cycle of quitting and relapsing only deepens your shame and pushes you further away from Allah. But what if I told you these relapses aren't a sign of failure? What if they're pointing you toward the real solution? Here's the truth: every time you fight urges and fail, it's your brain's defense mechanism at work. It thinks it's protecting you by making the urges stronger. How many times have you made a firm intention to quit? You feel motivated, but within days or weeks, the cravings overwhelm you. And when you relapse, you feel worse than ever. This is called the deception cycle. The harder you fight, the harder your brain pushes back. But relapses aren't proof that you're doomed. They're clues to the real solution. Instead of resisting urges, you need to observe them. When an urge arises, don't panic. Don't fight or distract yourself. Just stop, acknowledge it, and watch it like a passing cloud in the sky. Scientists call this urge surfing. Think of the urge like a wave. It builds, peaks, and eventually crashes. Every urge you've ever had has passed. The only reason they feel unbearable is because you panic and resist. This approach aligns with what our faith taught us 1,400 years ago. When Prophet Yusuf, AES, faced temptation, he didn't argue or resist. He ran. The Quran teaches us to take subtle, wise actions, not brute force. Observing your urges teaches your brain that they are neither a threat nor an opportunity. They're just thoughts. Here's how to practice this method. When you feel an urge, don't panic or fight it. Just pause. Set a timer for 15 to 30 minutes. Your brain can manage anything for that short amount of time. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and notice where you feel the urge in your body. The urge may feel stronger at first. Your brain will scream at you with excuses like, "Just one more time." This is normal. Let those thoughts come and go. Don't react. Each time you do this, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching it a new response to urges. But be warned, most people try this once or twice, feel a little better, and then let their guard down. That's when Shaitan strikes hardest. You need to make this your default response for at least 90 days to create lasting change. Let me remind you of something powerful. Shaitan wants you to think Allah has abandoned you, that you're too far gone. But the guilt you feel after relapsing? That's your heart turning back to Allah. Every moment of guilt is Allah calling you to Him. Shaitan doesn't waste time on those who are far from Allah. He focuses on